Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
We are ready. This is the 2012 NAB convention, but we are at the reception that Heil Sound, BSW, does every year for ham radio operators. Sarah, are you happy?
Yes, I am happy. We're here.
You know, we never get invited to parties, so we have to
give our own in order to be invited to a party.
And
so it's not a bad gig.
Yeah, we brought a lot of people with us. One of them is Scott Wilkinson, and all the TWiT family knows Scott. And
hey.
Really glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. It was such a blast last year that it's just great to be here again.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming, and you're going to be roaming the floor, talking to a lot of the notable people here. They're not all hams. They're engineers for many radio stations, television stations, because, you know, a great majority of the engineers in these stations are amateur radio operators.
You know, they're sort of professional radio people and amateur radio people all together because, in fact, they love their profession.
That's right.
And whenever you're working in a profession that you really love, you're not working.
That's right.
And well, that's really the way to live.
Well, we're here to give a nice party for them. We have about $16,000 worth of prizes.
Oh.
And Sarah's going to go give out some tickets for drinks and...
it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And those of you who are tuning in now and might want to catch it again later, it'll be special number 121 at twit.tv under the specials section where we have all of our NAB coverage, which includes stuff on the stage and interviews we've done out on the show floor. And for this particular party, the ham reception sponsored by Heil Sound, it will be number 121. So be sure and check it out.
Good deal. Well, we're going to let Sarah go cover the front door. They're starting to come in, and we'll end up with around 800 people here before it all gets in here. So we're going to bring in Kurt. Where's Kirk? Hey,
here's
he is.
Kirk. Come on in, man.
Come on in. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye.
I'm out of here.
Good. We'll see you later.
Good to see you.
Hey, it's good to be seen. How are you?
Well, we're here at the party again, and we're glad you're going to be here. You're going to help us host this, baby.
Am I at the Bob Heil party?
You are at the Bob and Sarah and Tim Schweiger party. Yeah, BSW and Heil Sound. We've been doing this for a number of years, and we're so thrilled that the TWiT family comes to live stream it now. So happy.
Years ago, I think the first time I came to this party was probably 15 years ago.
Oh, my.
Maybe 12, I don't know. But it was a while. I didn't have a ham license at the time, but I knew a bunch of the engineers in here. So I was stood around, I had my ticket, you know, and I'd get a couple drinks, be waiting to win something maybe. And I think I won a book, but one year I was in here and a bunch of guys had to go. They had like a meeting with Harris or some big company, right? And so they start leaving. They say, hey, Kirk, here's my ticket, here's my ticket, here's my ticket. Oh, my gosh, I had a dozen tickets in my hand. And I think I won something else, too.
There you go. Well, you might win something tonight.
I might. I have to go get a ticket.
There you go. You got to go get a ticket.
Yep.
That's
yep.
Right. Well, we're going to have you host some of this thing tonight. I'm really glad you're here. And we're so proud that you now have your general amateur radio license. How
Me too.
That? That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Pretty cool. All right. Well, we'll start walking around a little bit. I want to find George and get him in here. George, he's busy. There. You can be his roadie.
Yeah,
George, it's really good. We never get together. We're always on the other end of the cameras, but nice to have you here.
It's great to be here, Bob, and you too, Scott. Good to see you again. And Kirk, looking forward to a big night tonight. So many great prizes. It's a shame that we're not eligible.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's so great that you're here. And you're doing a lot of video that you'll have on your own network then, too, right?
Yeah, and I'm also shooting some stuff for Ham Nation that we can have a follow-up to show some of the background of what went on.
Right. One of the other things we want to tell you, this party really centers around giving prizes away. As I said earlier, about $16,000 worth.
We should take a look, in fact, at the pile, at the mountain of prizes
that
are sitting there waiting to be given away.
And what we want to do is to let the viewers in on this contest.
Really? How are we going to do that?
We figured it out. This guy right here, George, he does a contest every week on Ham Nation. So we're going to do it again tonight.
Fantastic.
We're going to be giving you a question after a while, and you just simply email it to George's contest at hamnation.org, right?
Yeah, it's hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and we'll ask the question shortly. And just send us your best guess at the answer, and we'll have a random drawing and pick out some lucky winner. What prize is it?
It's going to be an R51, I think it is, an ICOM handy talkie receiver. It's really cool. I'll get it and show it to you after a while when we give it away.
Yeah.
But later in the program, it'll be probably the top of the hour into the next hour. So call your friends, tell them to get their computers on so they can get into the contest. Right?
Yeah, everyone's eligible. You don't have to be a ham.
No,
so
it's a receiver. And the receiver will receive all kinds of wonderful frequencies, not just amateur radio. And it's donated by ICOM. So we have all that going on. And
sounds like a deal.
It's going to be good. So I think what we'll do is let's just start moving around the room and see some of the guys and gals that are here from absolutely all over the world. There's international people here, too.
I remember last year meeting some people from Australia, and that was great.
Yeah. Well, they're here, and we've got the Engineer of the Year here and all kinds.
Who's that?
Well, last year it was Charles Wooten. He works for Clear Channel. He was on Ham Nation with us yesterday.
Oh, cool.
He's a good friend. He just got back from Croatia on a big D-expedition, and he was explaining that. But he's an incredible guy and quite an operator. He's sought after by all these D-expeditions because he's a great high-speed CW as well as phone operator. And I think he said they did 5,000 contacts over the weekend.
Wow.
And the antennas are just enormous.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really great. But we're glad that everybody is tuned in, and we want you to enjoy the night and learn a little bit about what ham radio is all about. And hey, we can all do it. Leo got his license.
He did
on the air. Kurt is. You heard Kirk is.
I'm next. I'm afraid
you're next.
I'm going to have to do it. There's no question about it, because it certainly is a very friendly community, and that's one of the things that really attracts me to come to this party.
Yeah.
And to be amongst all these people who are just so willing to share their information.
That's right.
There's no animosity. There's no competition. It's all just let's all enjoy this hobby together. So I'm quite intrigued.
There's so many facets to it.
Yeah.
We got guys that like to build things. That's my niche. Is I do a lot more building as I do talking, and I love building, and it's really what my career is based on. So.
Tickets up to the bowl.
Ready.
I don't have my ticket.
We got to get you ticketed.
Well, I'm on the air now, so I think I'll probably have to pass on the raffle. I'm sad to say, but it'll give everybody else more of a chance to win.
Well, but no, I was saying so many careers in this room, and we'll hear this tonight, are made because of their amateur radio start. It was their basic education, and that's where I came from.
That's where you came from as well.
Yeah, learning to build things, and the next thing you know, it's a product that everybody wanted, and on and on and on.
Sure.
And it's really quite a wonderful thing. The hobby is great, but every facet of it. So
and there are so many different levels that you can participate.
Exactly. And then you get to the guys that are dyed-in-the-wool Morse code operators. And, of course, now you don't have to do the code any longer. That's really opened
not required for a license.
No. And
although you've seen Independence Day, haven't you, the movie? And the fact that Morse code was used to help coordinate the final attack on the aliens. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Well, the thing about this is the guys will get into the hobby, and they didn't want to do the code. Okay, so they get into it. But then they start finding out about that thing down on the low end of each one of the ham radio bands, about all this dit-da stuff. And they get intrigued, and they get hooked. Because it's like another language.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it's so much fun. our great friend Joe Walsh. He is a fabulous CW operator.
Really?
And he loves operating CW and the data, all the digital modes. He loves all that kind of stuff. And you get into that. So
those who don't know the name Joe Walsh, I mean, who doesn't? He's one of the guitar players for the Eagles. Well,
it's like he said. He says, I'm WB6 ACU, and I play guitar over here, but let's go down and play on 20 meters. That's
right.
Joe.
Yeah, right. That's his passion.
But you find all kinds of these. So many guys. The bass player for 38 Special.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. His call is K4EB, and we call him known for excellent bass.
Now, did he choose that? Can you choose your call letters?
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, if they're being used by somebody else already, they're not available.
The first time you get a license, you are issued a random call.
Random number.
But then if you upgrade it, you can pick from a list if it's available.
Now, Leo, of course, was fortunate enough to get, what is his? W6 TWiT.
No, it's
TWT. Okay.
Yeah. I picked that out early. When he was really getting serious, I said to Gordon, we've got to put in you can do that, a wait list. I said, let's do it, because he's going to do this. And in about 2 weeks, he got it, and because I searched it, and it wasn't there. It hadn't been assigned.
Hadn't been assigned yet,
and so it was signed to Leo Laporte.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we're so happy for him. It's really cool.
Okay,
really
so
cool.
we're going to get the camera to move around a little bit just to see the scope of this party here, which is quite remarkable, actually.
Yeah, there's so many people here. And we want to get some of these.
We're actually having a dolly shot here.
Yeah.
We should be on a track.
But he's doing a great job.
That's Brent Bai is our cameraman, and he's a human steady cam, I think we can call him. But as you can see, we're already we've filled this big, giant ballroom at LVH with people. You say about 800 people should be expected altogether.
700-800 people here each
Quite
year.
incredible.
But the thing is, it grows every year. That's what's really
and
cool.
the amazing thing to me, one amazing thing is I walked past here at about 5 o'clock or so, and the line to get in was around the corner.
Well, they don't want to miss, Scott.
They don't want to miss this party.
They want to get in here and get a table early.
I was astonished at that. That an hour ahead of the party, they were lining up.
That's exactly right. I tell you what we need to do. I want to I see Steve is here. There's a number of people we're going to walk around and talk
to. If you're ready to walk around, or if you need to go do something else, I can take over, whatever you like.
Let's just go walk around and see what we got. Let's head out this way.
Okay.
And we'll catch into some of these guys and let you see who's here and what they're doing. We also want to. Tim Swigert is here. We want to get Tim on here.
Okay.
And get him going. Let's go right here. Right here. Come here. John, how are you?
Bob.
Nice to see you. We're live on TWiT right now.
I watched it last night.
Did you watch it?
They had a wonderful interview on last night.
Well, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how ham radio's played in your career and what it means to you and what you do.
Okay, well, I got my license when I was 13 years old, and that was 1957 or 58, something like that. So I've been licensed a while. But I converted that into a business doing system integration. We've been in the broadcast television business since 1967. And we're based in the New York area. So we buy a lot of products. We sell a lot of products.
John,
ham radio has been a very important part of my life since I was a kid. And I owe it to my dad because he always wanted to be a ham. Never had the opportunity, but he'd buy me kits. Bought me Heath kits. We built the TV together from a kit in 1947, and I still have it.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's remarkable. John, I'm Scott Wilkinson.
Scott?
I'm one of the hosts on the TWiT network. And,
it was great last night.
Oh, yeah.
Great feed. Looked great. Disruptive technology. I'm an old-fashioned analog TV guy.
Yeah.
Who likes things to always work right.
Sure, of course.
And I'm not, IP is one of those things that I'm like,
oh, you're talking about the Broadcast Minds panel. That was an amazing panel.
It was a good
night.
panel.
Yeah,
definitely.
Panel.
So I set up my laptop in the Bellagio and said, let's see how this works.
Yeah.
So I fired it all up, and I'm sitting there, and boy, what was a great picture. It was widescreen, high def, good audio.
Can you imagine? It's all digital.
What a surprise.
Ones and zeros.
That's right.
That's
sir.
right.
Yeah. Thank
So
you
I'll
very
see
much.
you again in Dayton, I guess. Yep.
Thanks, John. We really appreciate you helping us here with the.
Glad to help
party.
out.
Okay.
Glad to help out.
Thank
A little
you
more
so-
cheese and wine for everybody.
There you go.
There you go. John, great to meet you.
Cheese and wine. What can I tell you?
That's right. All right. A lot of interesting guys around here.
Well, we're going to go find some.
We'll find some more. You got it.
Okay.
All right.
Take it
Thanks,
easy.
John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Where are we got?
I want to head back in
Hey,
here.
head back this way. Okay, hang on a second.
Yep.
Here we go.
John, he's really a great guy, and he helps host some of this for us. Look at here.
Oh.
Look at here. How are you, Ken?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
Well, we're on the air.
All right.
It's nice to see you.
It's great to
Tell
see
all
you
the
again.
Viewers, who you are, what you do, and what amateur radio means to you in your
Well,
career.
I'm Ken Holden. I'm chief engineer of Univision Station in Fresno, California, and I've been a ham since I was 11. So it's 53 years now, and I've been with this hobby. So, and I come here every year, and it's great to see you every year too.
But it's always great to see you, and you're active on the amateur band.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. HF, VHF, UHF, everything. In the air everywhere, DC to light.
Got it. All right.
In the air everywhere.
And
I like
call
it.
is WA6OIB.
Old Indian blanket. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us, and have a good time tonight. Good luck on winning some prizes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
All right. Good deal. As I said, there's all these engineers. They started.
Yeah, they started as kids.
Yes, absolutely. And
the most interesting thing to me is that they started as kids as a hobby. It became a profession, but they kept the hobby.
They kept the hobby. Well, it grows so much, and you learn so much. Getting on the air, sharing ideas and technologies, that's the whole deal. Because you look at the fact that where would we be without amateur radio? We wouldn't have things like the Ampex tape recorder, the VCR, satellite. You see, all of those things were formulated by hams. Yes, they were engineers of these companies, but they were playing around in their basements. And
they were tinkerers.
Tinkerers, yeah, like George, smoking solder. And it's really interesting to see what products through the years have happened.
Evolved out of the hobby.
And I can guarantee you, satellite television, the home television, started with W5KHT, single-handed Bob Cooper. He used to hold little sessions in his backyard in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to go to one of those.
Yeah.
Showed us how to take a tin can. It was a Folgers coffee can. Build an LNA with some very, very high-frequency transistors and put it on a dish that we got from Army surplus and pick up HBO. Serious. And it started a whole revolution. And I was in that beginning.
So, in fact, the beginning was Bob Heil, and this other fellow's name is
Bob Cooper.
Stealing HBO.
Well, that was an interesting thing. He got it going, and he called HBO, and he said, I'm watching your network. I think I need to pay somebody. And so, where are you? And they said, Oklahoma. I said, well, you can't be in Oklahoma. We're in New York, and we just want to get it to Philadelphia.
Right.
And I didn't, because they hadn't done any more than that at the time.
Yeah.
And so the FCC gave Bob Cooper the only receiving license. Because, you see, because of the 1934 Communications Act, if that signal falls in your yard, it's yours. Now, you can't sell it.
Right.
You can't do anything.
Distribute it or anything.
It's yours.
But it's yours. You can watch it.
Yeah, if somebody throws a baseball in your rock in your yard,
it's yours. Right.
And they didn't know what to do with him. Well, eventually they did.
Yeah.
And then they scrambled it, and we pay. Isn't that cool?
Super cool.
What can I tell you?
It is super cool.
I have to go up here and talk in the microphone up there because we're going to start giving away prizes. Woo-hoo! And here is Kirk Harnack.
Hi.
From Telos. Hey.
Thanks, Bob.
I'll be back.
We'll try to cover the fort. Keep it held down for you.
Thanks so much. So, Kirk, you're just new to this game, aren't you?
Well, I've had what they call a tech license for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I can talk with that license on 2-meter FM, 440 megahertz. We're being motioned.
Yeah, we should be moving along here.
But I just got my general license, so I can start talking on the HF bands.
Okay.
And involve not just talk, but other modes, digital modes of communicating. So I'm going to start playing with all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
now,
we got a great view of how big this place is and how many folks are here. Goodness gracious. I have a few victims picked out.
Oh, do you? Good.
Yeah.
Let's go find some.
We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to walk to get it done, though.
Okay. Well, we've got a whole tackling squad behind Brent. He's going to be able to walk backwards.
I want to ambush one guy who may not talk to us.
Okay.
But this guy is awesome. He's one of the best hams around, and he is so into helping the community with emergency management and stuff.
Yeah.
It's my buddy Alan Alsabrook here.
Oh,
Hi. How you doing? It's good to see you. So, Alan, we're live on the TWiT network.
Live on the TWiT.
Now, you're from Florida, right?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
St. Augustine, Florida.
Okay, and I see you on Facebook putting up pictures of fires.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, it's a dual thing. If I get there too soon, I have to go try to put out the fire. Because I've been doing fire rescue for 35 years, along with radio engineering for 35 years. And now my new thing is I'm doing news stringing. So
you're a reporter?
No, not a reporter, just the photographer.
Oh, okay.
His job back there behind the camera. So
I saw you doing a lot of photography on the show, right?
Yes.
So what's going to happen to all that footage?
Some of it's already up. It's up on a YouTube page. Some of it is, and then others of it, we'll see what's going to happen to it. But we're going to put it up and see what.
So how does your amateur radio hobby fit into your fire rescue desire, passion?
It just fits right in there because I'm already aware of the emergencies before anybody gets activated. So I'm.
You're first man on the spot, I guess.
Yes.
Putting the fire out.
If I have to.
Alan, thanks a lot. Nice to see you. All righty.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna go up here where the action is.
Okay, good.
Because we want to get a little look at the beginning of the giveaway.
Okay.
Did you get your ticket?
No, I haven't. I got to go get a ticket.
I don't have a ticket yet either.
Should I get you one?
Would you?
Would they believe me?
Well, they'd better because we've got a bunch of witnesses.
Yeah. All right. Hey.
Thank you, John.
Hey, there's Bob Heil on the stage.
Okay. Well, we are really glad to be here and always happy to be able to bring this party to NAB because it's a party of all our friends and, of course, all of us that enjoy the technology of amateur radio. And we want to be sure that you all get your tickets in here because we got
I'm going to run the front door real quick.
Go.
And I want to bring up my good friend Tim Schweiger from BSW. Tim, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Delighted. We're always delighted to be a sponsor here every year. We guys, so many of you are our customers that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's such an honor and an opportunity to be able to spend some time with you in a social situation. It's such a wonderful, magnificent thing that you, my friend, are the master. The master of service.
What we got to do, guys, is we're going to have to get him a ham license. So as he roams the crowd tonight, let's work on him. You don't have to do much. You can probably pass this probably tomorrow if we gave you the book.
Let's see what a lot can happen between now and next year. This might be really.
That's right.
You're throwing down the gauntlet, aren't you?
That's right. And of course, I hope. How many of you are watching Ham Nation?
Yay!
If you don't know about Ham Nation, I've been licensed since 1956. This is the best thing that's happened at amateur radio in decades because it is now bringing our hobby to the outside world. Everything we do, magazines and ham festivals, aren't they fun? Yeah. But they talk to us on the inside. Ham Nation has about 30,000 viewers a night, and we don't know how many on the replay. If you don't know anything about it, you want to get with it. Just put Ham Nation into Google, and you'll see what's going on. We had program number 43 yesterday. And with us is the TWiT engineers and staff from Petaluma. This is Leo Laporte's network. Leo has millions of hits a week, and he has now given amateur radio an hour a week. So check it out. It's really good. We learn to burn things and build things. And, we use a lot of BSW products on it and make it sound good. And of course, we know what microphones we use. So it's really fun. So check us out on Ham Nation and especially the TWiT network. Now we're going to come around. We're live streaming. There's probably 25,000, 30,000 people watching you tonight. So put your best smile on, and we're going to ask for your stories in a while. So, anything else you have to say? And anybody here from Turner want to come up? We'd love to have them. We appreciate all. Okay, well, we appreciate Turner helping us. Let's get on and give some prizes, John.
Let's give away some stuff.
How's it going, Dick? Good to see you. I sure appreciate your FM.
Oh, watch out there.
New York.
No problem.
That was terrific.
Boy, it's so crowded in here, you're bumping into things and people. So there's Sarah right over there. Hey, Sarah.
Sarah always says, we don't get invited to very many parties, so we have to give our own so we can go to one. So here we are. Have fun.
Good point.
7-3. We'll be around to see you in just a little bit. John, it's all yours.
Okay, so I think this giveaway is going to take a while. Maybe we can go find another couple people to harass.
We should, and we should probably try to get away from the speakers.
Exactly.
If
Exactly.
we can. I don't know that we can. I tell you what, though, if we can stop right here for a second, I want to chat with this guy for just a minute. This is Dick Burden. Hi, Dick.
Hi there.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
I didn't know you were a ham, but I should have guessed.
Yeah, I built a lot of ham transfers, but I don't have a license.
Dick, I got to see you at an event in New York City a few months ago, where you, along with some others, described the beginnings of FM stereo. And this was a fabulously interesting event that you were part of.
Yes. I'm one of what's left of that committee. The rest of them are all
passed away?
That's all passed away.
So what we're referring to is Dick Burden was one of the people on the committee that helped set the standards for FM stereo broadcasting. And you did a lot of experimentation to make sure it worked.
Everybody was a proponent, had a radio station somewheres that they worked with.
Yeah.
And we worked with one in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And the guy would call me, and he'd have the transmitter, and I'd have the receiver, and that's how we started.
Well, I appreciate your work, and everybody involved with FM stereo sure does too.
Thank you very much.
And What a Standard's been around for how long?
It'll be 51 years.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dick. Appreciate you. Oh, over here. Sorry.
Okay, we now have, Tim and Shannon from BSW, the co-sponsors of this fine event, who are joining us, and you're live on TWiT.tv. Tell us, how long have you been involved with the party?
Well, I think this is our third or fourth year. It's our fourth year. Yeah, to sponsor it. So,
and pardon me for not being familiar with BSW. What is it that your company does?
Well, it's BSW is broadcast supply worldwide, and we sell equipment primarily to radio stations. And we've been in business. Next year will be our 40th year.
Wow.
So our affiliation with the hams here is that, and Bob said yesterday, I think on the show that we were on, something like 80% or a huge percentage of radio broadcast engineers are hams, and we found that it was so important and so dear to their heart that we thought when we had the opportunity to get involved with this, we thought it would be great because engineers are our customers, but they're our friends, and we want to support them any way that we can. And so that's why we got involved.
Well, we certainly have found at the party tonight, and I've known already that a lot of the professional radio engineers in the world started out as hams, amateur radio people, in their youth. And then that developed into a career, but the hobby never went away.
It never went away, and it's amazing just the community that's involved with that and how tied in it is usually with the local broadcasters. You've always and then all the way obviously up to the major markets, and then in all the other affiliated industries like microphone manufacturers,
for example. Now, Shannon, I have to ask you: are you a ham as well?
Unfortunately, not yet, but I have a feeling it will be happening.
Well, hopefully you're not a ham widow.
No.
Because, I mean, that's one thing I believe about ham radio is that it does take some time. People are so passionate about it that they end up spending a lot of time talking with people all around the world, and tweaking their stuff. And, I've got this new thing that I want to integrate in there and so on. So I hope that Tim here's been some time with you after all.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to learn this thing.
We're going to figure it out. Yeah, it's been a great honor for us to sponsor this, and it's wonderful to see how much it grows every year.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Shannon's our sales manager at BSW, by the way, I should say. And Shannon is in the industry that is uniquely dominated by men, typically, in the engineering circle. And so I've just got to say, what a wonderful asset she is to our company, that she speaks tech. And
yes, I am a geek at heart.
A geek at heart. Ah, very good.
So it's so neat having Shannon at the helm of being a sales manager here. So we really appreciate it. So,
well, boy, if you can talk geek speak, then you are extremely valuable to the company and to the entire industry, I'm sure.
Yeah, she's right in there with him. Yep.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. Have a great time at the party.
Tim, good to see you. Shannon, good to see you, too. Take care. Hey, Scott,
yeah.
I just figured out, all these things are given away. Yeah. I can't possibly listen for that and have the ticket. I need to give the ticket to a friend of mine.
Okay, well, why don't you give your ticket to...
Let's give it to the guy in the red shirt over there.
Okay, very good. Is he someone we want to talk to?
And we're walking.
Perfect.
There's Bob Stroop. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Kirk, how are you?
I'm sorry to surprise you. I want to give you something. I want to give you my ticket. Because I can't listen to this and do this at the same time. But if I win something, maybe we could share it. Maybe? Okay.
I'll make a deal.
Let me look at it. Let me touch it,
kind of the Hollywood 15% off the top deal.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Now, Bob is a friend of mine from many years ago. He's a radio engineer. He's the director of engineering for Clear Channel in Houston, Texas. So you're down there in the hot, steamy weather.
This is going to be broadcast live on the internet?
Yeah.
I'm not here.
Yeah, you're here. We're all here. Sorry. Oh, was this a bad idea?
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm joking with you.
So you started out with some small stations in Mississippi, right?
Correct.
Yep.
5 kilowatt in lovely Senatobia, Mississippi. You worked on
would that
transmitter?
Be WSAO?
That would be WSAO with the 5 kilowatt ITA transmitter.
Oh my! Not even around. The company's not even around anymore.
No.
Is that transmitter still on the air?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you.
When it feels like it.
So, here at the Ham Reception, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Eat a little food, enjoy some friends, and win big prizes.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
We just gave you another opportunity to do that.
Right.
You double your chances.
Double your pleasure, double your fun.
Good to see you, Bob.
Thanks for talking with us.
Oh, hey, come on over here. Hey, Shipley. How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
How are you? I'm good. Hey, Bob.
About industry giants.
Yeah, thanks for getting these
Industry
guys together.
giants. And from Audio Technica. Here, I'm going to slip on the other side here.
So Shipley Landis is he's like a neighbor of mine in Nashville. He works for the MTV networks, specifically Country Music Television. Right. So Shipley, I didn't know you were a ham.
Yes, sir. KC4WQA.
What's that?
KC4 Whiskey Quebec Alpha.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And are you general, extra? What do you got?
I'm sorry to say I'm technician only.
So recently I was a technician only as well.
But I'm working on general. Plan to upgrade at Dayton. That's my plan.
No problem for you, man.
Okay.
You can pass the test.
All right.
I'm telling you. Steve, hi.
Hi, Kirk.
How are you? I'm good. Pronounce your last name for me.
Savagnou.
And what kind of license do you have?
I'm not a ham. That's an expensive hobby that I never got into because I'm a video producer.
I hear you.
Now, wait a second. You're a camera guy, but you work for Audio Technica, a microphone company.
I teach people about microphones for cameras.
Very good. Okay.
Exactly.
What's the number one thing that you teach them?
The number one thing you teach is get the microphone close to the sound source. If you got the microphone on the camera, it sounds like it's far, far away, even though the camera can zoom in.
The mic can't zoom.
The camera can zoom, the mic can't.
Mic can't zoom, camera can zoom. So get the mic close to the sound source, and you've got it made.
That's right. Steve, thank you very much. That's great advice. And that is so true, that advice. We interview folks sometimes on Skype, and the mic is up in the camera.
Even if you're a ham operator and you're sitting in your shack and you're talking to somebody, get close to that microphone, because if you don't get close to that microphone, sound is just a weird thing. It just doesn't. It's got to be close to the sound source, or else all that background noise from all those fans that are keeping those transmitters cool are going to overload your audio. Or it's going to wipe out your audio. So get your voice close to that mic.
Either that, or it sounds like you're in a tile bathroom.
You're in a tile bathroom. Exactly. Absolutely.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us here.
And
Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Actually, I want to talk to Shipley for a minute more if we can. So. All right, Steve. Thanks. So,
all right.
Shipley,
See ya.
Now, see, you and I have done business together.
We have.
And you've given us advice on manuals for telos. You installed some of our gear. I had no idea you were Ham. See?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we need to get together.
That's right. We should.
So I'm a new general class.
Okay.
And I was going to ask you for advice, but you said you were a tech, right? Oh, sorry. You said you had a tech license, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what kind of talking do you talk on 2 meters, 440?
2 meters, 440, mainly 440.
Do you ever get on the IRLP or Echolink and talk to other places?
I'd like to do that sometime. Time is conspiring against all of us these days.
I know it. It's true. Well, I've got a little experience in that. We'll get together and we'll key up somebody in Australia. How about that?
That'd be great. Okay. I'd love that. All right.
Shipley, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck winning something here. Okay, take care. All right.
I know.
We're going to bring Scott Wilkinson back in.
Yep, I'm back.
Scott.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the live streaming that we're doing here is thanks to a quite remarkable technology actually called Live View. It's a backpack on Brent's back. He's carrying our portable studio. It's being streamed live by 3G, is it?
Yeah, whole bunch of 3G and 4G USB modems.
Right, exactly. All linked together.
Yep.
So we're able to wander the party wirelessly and stream video and audio directly to whoever wants to watch. It's a remarkable thing.
What's really amazing about this technology is that I'm surprised that it works at all in this environment of a Las Vegas convention.
My goodness.
Where everybody's got their smartphones and there's
especially
so much
at NAB where there's so much radio energy happening.
If you take that technology out to a typical location, a car wreck, a cat in a tree, a house fire, a news event,
right,
a crash,
right,
it's going to work great.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's a challenge in this environment here where you've got.
But it works great here even. You know, so it's remarkable. We want to thank LiveView for their support of the TWiT coverage of NAB, and I think at this point we can continue. Why don't we continue on this way, a little bit away?
Okay.
Or unless you have somebody you know.
I got a couple guys to ambush over here.
Let's ambush them.
Come on, let's go this way.
839-319. Next one goes to 840.
I'm going to ambush this friend of mine here, Mike Erickson. Mike, are you a ham?
I am a ham.
I did not know that.
Yes, I am a ham. I'm also an amateur radio operator.
Okay. Now, Mike, you and this guy right here too. You are an audio processing expert. And
in some circles.
Unfortunately, Mike works for my competitor, but he's a real expert. So, Mike, how do you relate audio processing and your interest in that, which has been going on for years, to your ham radio work? Do you use any audio processing in being on ham radio?
Yes, actually I do. And a lot of what I used to use was old CRL and Enivonics stuff that was, basically put on the side. I don't actually get to do a lot of it now since I've moved to North Carolina due to restrictions of where I live, unfortunately, and traveling a lot. But I have used a lot of commercial broadcast processors in amateur radio operation.
I might want to do that on my own rig, so you and I should talk some more.
Yes, we definitely should.
I need to figure out how to hook it up to the funky connectors on the ICOM.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kirk.
I want to talk also to Jim Husty over here. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, Kirk, how you doing?
I didn't know you were a ham.
I'm not a ham at the moment. I'm expired at the moment.
Oh, well. Oh, okay. So just don't key down.
Yeah, all right.
You can listen all you want.
Not quite a silent key yet, but I'm working on it.
So have you used some real honking processing on ham radio?
No, not in the olden days when I was doing single sideband, but I need to talk about that with Frank, Maybe that's a new approach to getting on 40 meters and blowing people's doors off.
So tell me about your involvement in audio processing now.
Well, I'm the owner of Transatlantic Sound. We make the Ariane sequel, which is a pretty good audio processor, as everybody knows.
Yes, it is. Very cool.
What else can I tell you?
That's probably plenty. Are you going to win a prize tonight?
Probably not.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
I think I've already won the prize.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. A couple of my good friends in audio processing, Mike Erickson and Jim Husty. All right. We're going to run to now. Who are we going to ambush? We're walking. People are ducking away from me. Is that normal? Actually, we just come on. Let's go this way. Oh, there he goes. Hey, John. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, you're not a licensed ham operator, are you?
You are correct. I've been accused of being a ham, but not amateur radio.
Now, but you've done a lot of announcing in your life, right?
Yes, and I've worked with all these types of engineers and a lot of connections with the amateur radio organization because of the great service that they provided. You know, I worked in the news business for a long time. And, of course, we're always in contact with the amateur radio fellas because they've got contacts where we don't. So it's been a great organization to be part of, and we're thrilled at BSW to be part of this organization, part of this program.
Now, so you've also done some announcing. We'll check into that in just a second. So you should have no problem getting a ham license and talking to people. You did some announcing that has to do with boat racing.
Yes.
That is fascinating. Tell me a little bit, how did you get involved, and what kind of boat racing are we talking about?
It's called hydroplanes, which run about 200 miles an hour in a straightaway on the water, but it's what I grew up with in Seattle.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like people that are into Indy cars, they grew up in Indy. Stock cars, they grew up in Charlotte. Boat racers, we grew up in Detroit and Seattle, and that's how I got involved in it. But it was always from an announcing standpoint, you know. All the other guys in the neighborhood, you know, we just pull these boats behind our bikes and things like that when we were growing up. They all wanted to be drivers. For some reason, I wanted to be the announcer. And I did become the announcer.
All right. Well, we appreciate BSW sponsoring this event. And I appreciate my years of working with you with solving broadcasters' problems through getting them, telos gear or whatever it is that they
Well, I got to tell you, though, I may have made an interface as far as getting the problem solved, but I kept calling you to get the answer. Because for me, how's it work? Works real good. You need the technical specs, you talk to Kirk. That worked out great. Well, Kirk, thank you.
It worked out real well. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be part of the program.
All right. I'm looking at Mark Stennett over here. Normally, he's got a parrot on his shoulder, but not right now. Hey, Mark, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm sorry my voice is so crappy, so I'm going to ask you to do the talking. So you are a big-time broadcast engineer.
Well, I paid somebody to say that once.
But tell me about your ham radio activities.
I've been a ham for about 37 years, and it is responsible for getting me into broadcast.
I didn't know you were 37 years old.
Well, I color my hair. I color my hair.
Okay. So you and I we've talked a lot about broadcast engineering, and I'm not sure that we've talked much about ham radio.
Ham radio is one of my first loves. I discovered ham radio as a kid when I was living on a sailboat in Central America. I discovered my dad's shortwave radio, and I used to listen to AM broadcast late at night while we were sailing through Panama. And one day I discovered the shortwave 15 meters and happened to cross a couple of gentlemen in the Midwest having a pleasant conversation. And I wondered, gosh, what are these people doing? They're obviously not broadcasters. I would love to do that. And so at the age of 12, I got my novice license once we returned to Florida. And the rest is history.
Now, with your current activities in ham radio, do you tend to spend time on the HF bands with voice, or is there some other mode you like to operate?
Actually, I'm involved not only in HF, and where I do mostly CW work, I'm also involved heavily with frequency coordination in the state of Texas.
Ah, okay. With broadcasters or with
repeaters?
Oh, amateur radio repeaters. So these are like, what, 2 meter, 440?
2 meter, well, basically 10 meters and up.
Okay. So what does that mean, frequency coordination for repeaters?
It is a cooperative effort, volunteer, whereby people apply for under mutually accepted standards for the state, permission to put up repeaters, and the goal is to minimize interference between competing systems.
Oh, so when one repeater keys up, it doesn't cause other repeaters issues?
We're on an allocation basis, much like the FCC does allocations, and they have separation rules for broadcasters. We have similar standards that we abide by when it comes to coordinating repeater operation.
I understand that in Texas, you've got some pretty impressive repeater networks.
We do, not only in Texas, but throughout the country. There's a system in California that extends through Nevada and Arizona called Cactus. We've got a couple of wind networks up and down the state of California. We've got Intertie that bridges New Mexico and southern Texas. We got Armadillo that basically brings handheld coverage to all the metros throughout the state of Texas. Full duplex links, and all of these networks are cooperating with each other and occasionally are bridged on a national level.
That's very good. Are any of those networks involved with IRLP or Echolink?
Occasionally, yeah. There's splinter nodes, but the main course of action is to link these via full duplex RF links.
When I lived in Texas for a couple of years in Dallas, I remember talking to other hams about the extensive repeater networks, and I was just really impressed with just all the technology that they had and all the redundancy and backup that they had for these things. I guess for emergency communications.
Well, it's very good technology, but it's all comprised of hardware that others have basically thrown away.
Really?
Hams are very resourceful. We use a lot of Master 2 equipment. And with the recent change to narrowbanding, we've got a lot more hardware available going forward.
Mark, thanks very much for your time. I want to talk to you more about this sometime and just pick your brain a little bit. Thank you. Take care. All right, let's go. Let's run this way.
Look who we found.
Yeah, I see. You want the microphone? Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hold the mic.
Good to see you. Yeah. You mean like I'm on stage?
That's it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now
right.
what do I do?
Now you know the bit about mics, right? I mean,
Yes,
you've
I do.
been in the audio business for quite a while.
A few years.
You and I, in fact, know each other from your Den-On days.
Yes, back in the 90s.
Right, when I was still covering home theater.
Home theater technology with
exactly.
Bill Curtis's publication.
Yes, exactly right. Home Theater Magazine
And
at the
the
time,
magazine, yeah.
which became Home Theater, which I now am the online editor of HomeTheater.com, the website associated with that magazine.
Wow, I
So
never knew that.
Comes around full circle, doesn't it?
I'm glad we met up tonight.
Indeed, me too. So what are you doing these days?
Today, I am the publisher of Radio World newspaper, a part of New Bay Media, one of the largest trade publication in the radio, television, and broadcast industry.
Well, then you're in the right place, aren't you?
I certainly am. Surrounded by a lot of broadcasters here.
It's quite incredible. And what brings you to the ham radio reception here?
Well, we come every year.
Yeah.
We're part of course, the show. We publish the NAB daily for the NAB, but
you're the one that puts that magazine outside my hotel room every morning. Huh?
That's the one. We sneak up really early.
Okay.
And at this point, we wanted to support our friends, Mr. Heil. And, BSW, who is a great sponsor of Radio World for a number of years, Tim Schweiger and the crew and Shannon. And this year, Radio World finally got to donate some special prizes. So.
Oh, good. What do we have from Radio World?
We have plain white T-shirts with just simplicity, the Radio World masthead
Well,
logo.
sometimes simplicity is the best, isn't it?
It always is. It always is. I've always been told that is the best way.
Very good. Well, it's so great to run into you.
Thank you very much, Scott.
My
pleasure.
From 10, 20 years ago now.
Yes, we're still around. We never leave.
We never leave.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Okay, here, Bob, why don't you take a look? Take a look at that?
John has another. He's a guitar player.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Another life.
Another life,
and
he plays with a Heil talk box, so he knows how to handle that Joe Walsh really good.
You know,
we've been friends for a long time.
I have to say, it would be great, wouldn't it? I bet you there's a lot of musicians in this room.
There are.
We could have a jam band.
We could. And I have to tell everyone on the air, if it wasn't for John Casey, Heil Sound would not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
How's that?
We're very good friends through advertising and the magazine and all that. Then we just became really good friends. And he said, "You ever been to the Rock Hall?" I said, "No." He said, "You need to go sometime."
He showed me those wonderful pictures he had in his warehouse. I said, "Why is all that equipment in your warehouse, Bob?" "Oh, I don't know. It's left over from years ago." That belongs in a place where people can see it and know the story about Bob Heil, Heil Sound, his contribution to not only the ham world, the radio world, but to the rock and roll and music industry throughout the world.
Which you talked about on my show, Home Theater Geeks, to some degree, and I found it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, well, he sent the curator down. He knew the curator, And they came down and they saw all the stuff I had in my garage, and they were, first of all, they were flabbergasted that I had kept a lot of it.
They couldn't believe it.
Hams don't throw anything away.
That's right.
Because we might be able to build something later on. I showed how to do that yesterday on Ham Nation.
Hams don't have garages either for cars.
That's right.
And Bob's got
it's storage.
But anyway, that stuff, I never thought about that, Scott. But after the curator was there and said, this is history, and it is history, musical history, and John Casey was the one that invited Sarah and I to visit the Rock Hall, and the rest is a room on the third floor.
And we had a really good friend at the Rock Hall at the time, John Grayson, who was very instrumental in putting this together. And John's moved on from there now to another place, but he was a big thank you to and shout out to John.
He was. So thank you very much.
Well, very good.
Okay. We will see you again soon.
Tomorrow night.
There you go.
Excellent.
Nice.
Rock on.
Rock
on. All right. Oh, good friend, John. He's really a great friend. Look at here.
Look at here.
Tom, how...
I want to bring my friend Tom in here. Thanks very much, Bob. Tom Bosher, and you're at Cornerstone University, right?
Cornerstone University, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, and of course, you're a ham.
Been for over 40 years now. I was licensed at age 13.
Oh, my gosh.
And that hobby had brought me into my career. My cousin and I, we taught each other electronics at age 10, got our ham licenses at 13, challenged each other to get our radio telephone license in high school. We both ended up in a career. Rick Bosher is at KFMB in San Diego, AM/FM TV, and I ended up in radio. We figured the country is so big. I take the east of the Mississippi, he takes west of the Mississippi. So the ham radio gave me a whole career. And I've been in the radio business for 40 years now. I know I look only 35, but I've been in it for 40.
So in ham radio, what license level are you at?
I'm an extra class.
Super duper extra.
Super duper, and I teach extra class licenses too.
Really? Yeah. How did not in private classes or
in club settings, anywhere from 10 to 15 people, and I teach some general classes too. I find it's nice to give back to the ham community, and it's a lot of fun because people are very motivated to get their licenses.
Very good. Now, does the university afford you any facilities to teach in?
The radio club, the one in Grand Rapids, we use the Red Cross facilities for that.
Okay. I had a question. Oh, yeah. So are you actively on the HF bands, or what do you like?
I'm the biggest putz in ham radio. I'm on satellite. I'm on 2 meter sideband, 6 meter sideband, the HF. But I'm one of the few guys that has in-shack QRM. In-shack QRM because my wife is K8AJ. Oh. And if I operate the low bands, I only get to call somebody 3 times, and she puts her hand out for the microphone, and she goes, Kilo 8 Alpha Juliet, and the Malpelo Island DXpedition? Okay. They stopped the pileup to talk to her. And so she's worked about 160 countries. I've worked about 120. So everybody says it must be fun to have a wife who's in extra class and active. I go, no, it's not.
Tom, that's an amazing story. I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's Tom Bosher from Cornerstone University, and we're going to slip over this way now. You want a mic? Oh, you got a mic.
I got one. Boom.
I'll take that one. Thank you very much, Kirk.
Hey, we have Steve Dove here. He's tell us about how you come to this wonderful event.
Okay, well, I'm a radio ham of old. G3YDV was my original call over 40 years ago. And I work for Wheatstone, who make broadcast consoles and air chain processors. In fact, we've given a present for distribution this evening, which is one of our microphone channels. So it really should end up on 75 meters. Hint.
Now, how did you get into ham? Into amateur radio?
Oh, it was all my dad's fault. He worked on radar research during the Second World War, and immediately fled into hospital management at the end of it. But he infected me with a love of radio along the way.
I wonder if he ran into Arthur C. Clarke. Didn't he also do radio work in the Second World War?
Yes, they were in the same organization.
Yes, indeed.
There's quite some famous names in there.
So then your dad got you started, and it's been a passion ever since?
It's been downhill ever since. I got involved in pirate radio, which involved getting awfully seasick in the North Sea.
Were you on that boat? Remember that movie that I think was called Pirate Radio?
Pirate Radio. Well, that was actually modeled after the Radio Caroline ship.
Were you doing something similar?
Oh, yes. I was on the original Caroline boat for a very short period of time until the antenna fell off.
Oh.
which was rather unfortunate.
Yeah, that is rather unfortunate.
And later in the 80s, I went out to keep a station running called Laser 558.
And what distinguished that station? I mean,
it was a very hard-hitting American-style top 40 radio station at a time when British radio was all la-di-da-di-da-di-da. It was immensely it was very gratifying. Walking down a high street in England, and you'd hear your station coming out of all the shops. It was great. But the funny thing was, I was working for a broadcast manufacturer in Britain at the time, and one of our prime clients was the BBC.
Uh-oh.
So I was sitting in a meeting with BBC people during the day, knowing that evening I was going to be on a little rubber boat out to the ship,
doing your pirate thing.
Yes.
Wow.
Am I in trouble now?
No, I don't think
Sorry.
so. No. They won't tell anybody.
Okay.
Okay, so Wheatstone is a manufacturer of radio products?
Yes, broadcast equipment for radio stations, television stations, and we also do the air chain processors to make everything sound very loud and beautiful.
Well, and you have a very loud and beautiful voice yourself.
Thank you very much.
So you must have, and obviously you were an announcer on the pirate radio station?
Only by accident.
Well, you know.
I haven't been anywhere except the booth.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll get a chance to walk around a little bit.
Oh, I should do tomorrow. It's going to be fairly gentle. I'll go around and say hello to everybody. Lots of friends here.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, this is why I come to shows as much or more than to see the equipment and the new gear and so on, is to make and establish and maintain relationships.
Indeed.
Which is really
that's a lot
what
of the
it's for.
business. Yes.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, thanks so much for stopping by and talking with us.
My pleasure entirely. Thank you.
Right.
With a really interesting engineer.
Oh, let's go talk to him.
Yeah, let's talk to him. Let's see. Where'd he go? Here he is. Hey, Brian. How are you doing? This is Brian Clark. Hi, Brian. I didn't know you were a ham.
I'm a ham. KF6FES.
Well, thank you. I'm KD5FYD, if you remember that.
I'll try.
Now, you are out of Burbank, California, right?
Yes, I work Radio Disney Network, so I'm in charge of the uplink for Radio Disney.
Now, I met some Radio Disney engineers, I think, in Dallas some years ago. So you're in Burbank. Tell me about you work the uplink, but Radio Disney, this is like a nation.
And we feed the theme parks and the cruise ships for Disney, and it's we just celebrated 15 years.
Now, theme park places?
Yes, they take our signal, it gets uplinked, and they receive it, and it's distributed, and it goes everywhere.
Now, the programming on Radio Disney is, of course, meant for children, right?
In some day parts. We're going top 40 now, so it's more top 40 and adult.
Really?
Yeah, we're
so
going more
mom
adult.
and dad can listen to.
Yes, absolutely.
Usually it's the other way around. The kids can listen to, but now mom and dad can
We
listen.
play Adele, so that's a current. Yeah, so.
So is it the same network programming that is delivered to cruise ships and other Disney venues?
Same format for all venues.
Now, distribution, you said uplink. Tell me about what that involves.
Well, we send a signal to our uplink provider, which is in New York, and they send it to the satellite. It's received on a specialized receiver, and that's how it gets to every station.
So how does ham radio affect, or how does your job affect your ham radio hobby?
Not really very much. In fact, part of Disney has a ham radio group that we're trying to use for emergencies, emergency broadcasts. We have a group in New York that's trying to get all of the Disney-related entities together, and in case of an emergency. So whenever there's an emergency, ham radio always comes through.
Absolutely. So now, is your office in Burbank?
In Burbank, yes.
Very cool. Brian, I'm very glad to meet you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you participating here tonight. Take care.
Brian, before you go, Scott Wilkinson, I'm the other host of the show. I happen to be in Burbank myself. Okay. And Bob Heil tells me that you're the engineer for Ryan Seacrest. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm also Ryan's engineer. So I've worked with him for 17 years, since he was 19, and I travel wherever he goes. With American Idol, I set up, mobile studios wherever he goes, and I'm working with his foundation, where he builds media centers in children's hospitals for kids recovering from an ailment.
That's great. That's not unlike the ELF Foundation, which does a similar thing. It installs home theaters into children's hospitals in order to provide them with some entertainment in the trying time.
Yeah, it's a great foundation. Kids that are room-bound are able to participate. They can see on the screen the studio down in the lobby, and they can request songs and interact, and we bring artists in, say Selena Gomez and so forth.
Now, Ryan Seacrest, for the last several years, has been doing the co-hosting duties at New Year's Rocking Eve. And we must acknowledge tonight, I'm sad to say, the death of Dick Clark, who died today at 82, I believe, of a heart attack.
Yes, I heard of that this afternoon while I was working the floor, and it's very sad. I mean, Ryan's been great friends with him for many years, and we don't know what the future's going to be because Dick had so many things going on. It's just sad. I mean, 82 is too young.
Yeah, I agree. And in the last few years, of course, he'd had a stroke, and he reduced the amount of coverage that he did. But I was very impressed with his courage at being on camera and speaking, even with the severe deficits that he developed from his stroke. That I just admired him tremendously. Of course, I grew up with him. All of us grew up with him. And I just want to mention his passing and note and say that it's a sad moment for all of us, really, in the broadcasting industry.
Absolutely. I mean, he innovated so many things in his lifetime, ways of doing broadcasts and just shows in general. So, yeah, it's a big loss.
Yeah, it is. But Ryan has stepped in admirably. I've been watching that show now for the last few years, and I guess you've been involved in those shows as well?
No, my involvement is merely to get Ryan ready to go to New York, and he handles it there on his own.
Okay. Well, it's an exciting thing you're doing, and best of luck in the future.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Okay, so I think, Kirk, you've lined up another interview for us.
I do.
Please. Why don't you introduce our friend here?
You got it, KE4IS.
I should have guessed that you were a ham.
I've been one for a long time.
Like half the people in this room or more.
We're not sure that they're all hams in here, but they all come for the free food.
Now, your business card says you're the Senior VP of Engineering for
CBS Radio.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
When I met you, I think you were with an organization called Westinghouse.
Westinghouse was a previous owner, bought CBS Radio and changed the name of the company to CBS Radio because that was a better-known brand.
And you've had something to do with the design of HD Radio?
Me and two other guys, Paul Donahue and Tony Macciola, who's now at XM, were the three original founding partners of USA Digital Radio, which developed HD Radio, and it later changed their name after they merged with Lucent to Ubiquity. So everybody changes their name.
Years ago at an NAB, you and I had breakfast or lunch, and you described to me in very close detail about the process of getting more bits per hertz. That was fascinating.
Well, it's a matter of how big the constellation is on the waveform, and the more bits per hertz you get, the less coverage you get because it needs a higher signal to noise ratio.
Yeah.
So most over-the-air systems rely on something less than a quad array of 4, which gives you 2 bits per hertz. That's how the FM system works. The AM system, because there's no bandwidth, uses up to 34 QAM, which I believe
math.
6 bits per hertz.
Okay. Sounds so. Now in amateur radio, are you active?
Not really. No. I go to the Dayton Ham Fest every year. I'm active to see my friends in person.
Yeah. See. So, are you an advanced, extra class?
I'm advanced, not extra.
I just got my general ticket.
Okay, and my wife is a technician, and everybody tells me that since she's had it so long, that she can upgrade to advanced or general without any more tests.
I have no idea. I don't know.
That's what they tell me.
So when you were more active in the ham bands, were you active on HF or?
No, well, I started off being active on the Fastnet. It was a CW net in South Florida. It was all of Florida. And later on, I got very interested and put on the original 2-meter repeaters in Miami.
Real?
And we actually went around and collected old two-way gear, brought them to my house, and renovated them, which literally meant we took them to a car wash, cleaned them out, or we put them in a dishwasher. We sanded them down, repainted them, and gave them to hams.
Were these tube type repeaters?
Oh yeah, yes. But we also gathered up gear for the cars, so we would go out and buy up these things and then resell them to the hams. Every one of them got an Amico New Vista preamp put in it because we wanted every piece of gear to work really good. So we had a very closed system. You really couldn't get on 2 meters unless, well, you could if you had the resources to go do what we did. But this was all done by the hams as just loving volunteer work for the.
Seems to be a lot of volunteerism in ham radio.
An awful lot.
Glenn, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate you spending a few minutes here. You take care. Bye-bye. We also have over here Tom McGinley. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Oh, am I on TV?
You are. I want to tell you, your son is a delight to work with.
I'm speechless. What can I say? He's a chip off of his old mother. He gets it from her. But we tried to teach him well, and we're very proud of him. He's a wonderful and a beautiful.
He's turned out very well, I think.
Absolutely, and you have too, my friend. I might add.
I've turned out well.
I think you've come along.
I'm not your son, so there's no explanation.
Well, but you're a brother from another mother.
Right.
That's right. And you're representing who?
Well, I'm here on the TWiT network.
Oh, this is the TWiT network.
Yeah, we got like 25,000. We couldn't get you on the regular show.
I know.
So we had to ambush you here.
Conflict of interest or something.
So I take it you're a ham operator too.
Absolutely. K7 quick action.
Are you quick action? Are you active at all in the ham bands?
Semi-active. I've got a lot of gear stored up in boxes in the attic. But I dream of the day once when I, leave this great profession behind that I can drag all that gear out, stick my sky hook up, a TH6DXX about 80 feet in the air, and work the world again like I used to do 40 years ago when I was really active.
Now, if you put up an HF antenna, you live in the Seattle area, right?
I live in the Seattle, Washington area, that's right.
So where are some good places to talk to from Seattle?
From Seattle, you want to be on top of a hill. There's lots of hills in Seattle. Don't get in a valley.
I mean, can you talk to Japan?
Oh yeah. Well, the whole Pacific is wide open. Okay. Alaska comes boiling in. Japanese signals all over Hawaii, and my forte in the last number of years has been 160.
160 meters.
160 meters CW with a vertical. Ground radials, top loaded, base loaded,
like an AM station.
Exactly right. 100 watts. I don't do voice, unfortunately. I prefer Charlie Willie, the original mode of communication. After the tin can and the string, it works well. But I've worked all over the world on 160 with 100 watts.
Wow.
And it's a great hobby.
Do you know our friend Mark Stennett? Do you know Mark?
I've heard of Mark, but I don't.
DXpedition in the Pacific, Swains Island.
Wow, that's rare DX. What's the prefix?
Samoa. I should have asked you.
Something new.
First you go to American Samoa.
Right.
I've got 2 radio stations. And then you Then you take a boat to Swains Island.
Wow.
Mark, what's
a little rock in the ocean?
I said, why? It's a little flat rock in the ocean. I said, Mark, what's the population of Swains Island? 5.
Oh my God! So he'll make 6.
He'll make 6. Exactly.
Well, that's great.
Tom, good to see you.
Kirk, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate it.
Take care. We're going to walk around over here and take it over to Scott Wilkinson. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, we're back again. I'm here with Ray Novak of ICOM and Bob Heil, of course, one of the hosts of the party, and George Thomas. And we're going to be talking here about a giveaway to the live audience.
Exactly. Well, that's what this party is about. Well, let's say half of it. The other half is drinking and eating.
Drinking and eating, yes.
Well, having a good time and seeing people that you talk to on the air, but you don't see them, and it's really kind of fun.
That's right, because you can talk to people all over the world, and here they are all in the same room.
Well, what's really cool about ham radio is you'll talk to somebody for maybe decades, and you know everything about them, but you've never met them.
Yes.
So you can say, are you going to be at the party? And they get to meet for the first time. So you never know if that's going on, too.
Remarkable.
But we're doing something really cool this year. First time. George does a contest on Ham Nation. And so we thought, wow, let's let the viewers get in on this.
Yeah, we've got a question here that anyone's eligible to participate. You don't have to be a ham. The question is, what is the famous message that was sent by the wireless operators on the Titanic during that disaster? It was 3 letters. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but it should be easy enough to find out. And if you'll send that answer to hamnationcontest@gmail.com, we'll choose a lucky winner out of the answers of the correct people. So just enter in what is the famous CW message that was sent by the Titanic during the disaster. That's hamnationcontest@gmail.com. And we'll announce the winner on next week's Ham Nation.
hamnationcontest@gmail.com. All right.
Now, what are you going to win?
We're going to win
an ICOM ICR6 broadband receiver.
Right. This is great.
And now, exactly what can you pick up with this thing?
Well, you can pick up multiple services with this radio, not only ham radio, FM broadcast, AM broadcast, wireless microphones, many different things that you use in the broadcast business.
It's not limited to just amateur radio. And what's really cool about this, we have guys in the rock and roll market, engineers.
Yeah.
They use these to go in and scout the buildings to see what kind of problems they're going to have with their wireless microphones.
Very smart.
And there's all kinds of, and aircraft, you can pick up aircraft that does AM, right?
Oh, most definitely. And as you lead into about AM, I ran into a friend of mine that one of our first ham projects together was to put ATV in a aerobatic aircraft at the Oshkosh Air Show. And he'll be on here in a few minutes to share with what we did.
We'll find Dave. Yeah, all right. Well, we want to make sure that everybody understands this is for you. So if you know what happened when they sent the disastrous call from the Titanic, there were 3 letters, right? We want to know what
3 letters, and just send your answer to hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and we'll have a winner next Tuesday.
Right. What we're going to do is, in a couple of days, when we all get back home, George will pick. We do this on the Ham Nation show every week. He has a little program, and it'll randomly pick those of you that sent him email. So 3 letters. There you go. That'll be pretty cool. And they get to win we'll ship them the ICOM handy talkie. So you let us know your address too when we'll come back to you and let you know, and we'll ship it. That's great. Well, thanks very much. And what happened to Dave, your friend Dave?
Dave's right over here, but before you get out of here, Bob, there's one question. I received a text from my wife that's watching. Yeah. She saw your purple jacket, loves how you dress, wanted to know if you're wearing your purple shoes.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
No.
We really want to see Bob's shoes, because they are quite remarkable. I mean, you're talking styling there, man. You are just styling.
Well, you have to understand, I grew up in a shoe store.
Did you
My
really?
parents in 1948 bought a shoe store. My grandmother owned the ladies' ready-to-wear next door. Sarah's father was the Lee Ryder sales rep that sold my parents. So we are old clothes hounds from back in the 50s.
The schmata business.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of fun with clothes.
Yeah. Well, usually I've seen you in this lovely matching purple jacket and purple tennis shoes.
Well, Converse.
But you've Converse,
yeah.
Exactly. But you've dressed up a bit for us tonight.
Well, Sarah thought I should ramp it up a bit on the shoes. So, Cindy, there you are, kiddo. And why aren't you here? Okay.
I'm in trouble now. Now I'm in trouble.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to see what happened to David. David, come here. There you go. All right. You guys seem to
20 years ago, oh, well, yeah, you are that old there, Ray. Yeah, we hooked up at a major air show and started talking about radios and ham way back when. And in fact, we tried something which we thought was pretty cool at the time. And that was, we created, or built from scratch a couple of ATV rigs and placed it in one of the major aerobatic performers' airplanes. So we put it in Patty Wagstaff's airplane, and during the show, broadcast down to the people on the field, and we could see what was going on.
Well, what year was that?
It was probably about 1987, 88 or so.
Very early. Not much of that was going on yet.
No, there wasn't. We were trying new things, and quite honestly, didn't know what I was doing at all.
It's like we tell people all the time. It's ham radio. No is not in our vocabulary. We go out and do crazy things, and sometimes it's really good things.
Sometimes, and quite honestly, I didn't know enough to know that what I was doing. So it's like, let's just try it from the beginning, and we'll go from there.
Got it. Well, thanks for that story. That's great. And you and Ray have been friends for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
Well, we appreciate Ray's help here on Ham Nation. He's done so much for the TWiT network, and we appreciate it. Well, thanks for coming, and it's good to see you, David. All right. Have fun, okay? Wow, how great to see all of our friends. See, there again, these are people we talk to on the air, but we don't get to see them very often, and here they are. And talking about talking people on the air, here's one of the great contest DX operators in the country. John, how are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, but I really appreciate your support and all the expeditions that we've been on.
We are here to help ham radio, and we're so blessed that Leo Laporte and all of his staff gives us this time to share what we do. Tell some of the viewers what you are doing these days.
Well, ICOM got started out in 2000, and they donated some radios that we could take to Clipperton Island, FO0 AAA. That was in 2000.
That's the call letters of this little island that you went to, right?
That's it.
FO0
AAA.
That was
so ICOM donated the radios. Bob Heil donated sound equipment, microphones, and headsets. We put all this equipment together, put it on a boat in San Diego, went 6 days down to this island that was deserted, got off the fishing boat, set up our antennas and our radios, and practiced using amateur radio in an emergency situation.
Whoa.
Talked to 75,000 people.
Now, Scott, think about this. He just runs by this kind of fast.
Yeah.
This is an island that there's nobody there.
Where exactly is it?
It's about 600 miles off the coast of Acapulco, Mexico.
Now, there's nobody there.
It's a French island.
And where are you getting your power from?
We had to bring it with us.
There's where I was going. They have to take the generator, the gas for the generator, all the aluminum to build the antennas, all the power for the lights, whatever. And they do all of this in like boxes and 55-gallon drums and download it off of the little fishing boat. And they're there for what, a week?
We were there for 10 days. Had to bring our own toilet paper, our own food, our own drinks. We had little fences to keep the crabs from crawling up into the tents.
Now, is this what's called a D-expedition?
Yes.
It's a D-expedition.
And what exactly does that mean? I've never heard that term before.
DX means long distance in ham radio talk. And one of the things that we try to do is talk to people long distance. And we have a book that we keep track of how many people we talk to in long distance. And there's about 347 countries, or entities as they call them. And every time we talk to one, we check another one off.
It reminds me a bit of bird watching.
Yes.
Where
it's like bird watching.
Yeah.
Where you have this list. You know, you want to talk to somebody in every country in the world, and you tick them. Or in the case of bird watching, you have the list of species that you're looking for, and you check them off when you find them.
That's correct. And most of the people speak English. But we have people that go on these trips that are from Germany or from Russia or from other countries, and they talk to their people in their language, and it enhances the trip. It helps it out.
That's incredible. So how many countries have you spoken to?
Oh, all of them.
All of them.
Including North Korea.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you talked to anybody in Antarctica?
I have. There was a KC-4AAA in Antarctica.
I told you, this guy's one of the real masters, and he's so gracious because they'll find an island that hasn't been assigned a call, so that's going to be country 348. Now,
Entity 348.
Yeah. Now think about this a minute. They have to figure out who owns the island. They have to get permission from maybe a country. So it could be maybe Washington, D.C. and the Queen of England. I mean, it gets really wild, doesn't it?
There's one off the coast of Easter Island. Easter Island is inhabited by people from Chile right now. They own the island.
Yeah.
But this little island off the coast of Easter Island is called Salas de Gomez, also uninhabited. No ham radio operators there. But because of its distance, it's part of Easter Island.
Ah.
Now, if Easter Island was a separate country, not part of Chile, then Salas de Gomez would be a different country.
Oh.
So we know the technicalities of it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And you've talked to somebody in North Korea. That's hard to imagine.
There was just a few of us, I think around 30 or 40,000 hams that actually talked to them, and it was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
But North Korea is very much wanted, as is Yemen and some other countries that we probably shouldn't travel to.
Well,
yet you can travel there in your imagination and by ham radio.
That's true.
Any of the viewers, you can go to our website called QRZ.com and look up any of our calls. If you put in W6TWT, you'll find
Leo
details
Laporte.
about Leo.
Yeah.
You go in and put N7CQQ, and you're going to see a lot of things about John, and he's all over the internet because he's the master. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. I really enjoy seeing you guys at NAB every year.
Well, thanks so much for all you do.
Thanks so much. Okay, we're going to hand it off to Kirk here. He's got a couple of victims.
Thank you very much. Hi there. By the way, I'm Kirk Harnack, if you don't know, and have a regular talk show on TWiT called This Week in Radio Tech, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Commercials out of the way, and let's talk to Bill and Kim Sachs. This couple here, I've known about Bill Sachs since I guess about 1983 or 4 with Straight Wire Audio.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was.
And I haven't known Kim that long. They are just the most fantastic couple. I just love talking to these folks. They're near and dear to my heart. And Bill and Kim, what are you guys up to lately?
Well, we're finishing a project we work for Orban, we should say that, doing audio processing. But in our other lives, we're refurbishing old Optimods. And the big thing is we're working on a project which is sort of the audio engineer's search engine, will allow people to sniff AES digital or analog or composite FM stereo with one handheld tool.
A handheld tool that sniffs these things.
You can plug an XLR into it from a microphone or a line level, and that's our project du jour. Kim and I have designed about a quarter of Henry Engineering's products.
Okay. I think the first time I met Kim with you was when you were telling me about some USB products.
The USB Matchbox. It's been very popular. A professional interface through the USB that goes to XLR, balanced in and out, and isolates it from the computer's sort of hurricane of EMI inside the computer, get the audio outside the computer via USB. We were one of the first to do that.
Now, let's go back to the Orban refurbishing. A lot of folks have Orban processors, analog processors, and they get a little long in the tooth, capacitors dry out, and they may think that, the Orban doesn't sound so good, but it may just need refurbishing. So why don't you tell us about that process?
Well, we refurbish them. We basically take the old analog Orban gear, Kim and I personally, not as part of the company, and we know the innards so well, obviously, that we refurbish them. We basically are shipping brand new analog processors. We change out the op amps to more modern, high slew rate, lower noise op amps. We rebuild the power supply with a new transformer, and we replace all the coupling capacitors and all the critical bypass capacitors with good high quality types, film types. Most importantly, we align it very precisely, much more precisely than they could have been aligned in mass production back in the day when we were shipping 50 a week. I can spend 3 or 4 days on one box and get it within a tenth of a dB all the way out, and that's the difference, the hand tuning.
So Kim, what do customers say when they get their refurbished Orban box back?
I often get voicemails from these guys, and they're almost giggling, in excitement. Oh, my God, I can't believe this unit can actually sound like it does. It just really opens up the high end and the low frequencies, and they really just are so excited about it. It sounds so much better. A lot of the times they're planning to put it on as a backup processor, and they end up putting it on as their primary processor.
And we're very proud of the fact that my other boss, Bob Orban, says to customers, well, they'll sound better coming out of the refurbishing than they sounded when we shipped them because of the more modern parts.
You said your other boss. That means, is this one boss?
I'm always the boss.
That's what I thought. How did you get into refurbishing Orban processors? What was your motivation?
Well, I like to say that I had the world's longest internship with Orban from hanging out at the factory as a kid in San Francisco and watching them make 8000. So I had this sort of intimate connection with the product. And then as the products aged, eventually they asked Kim and I to take over doing the older analog service.
It was actually Marty Acuff that suggested it in 2008. And since then, we've been working on these units, and it just keeps on going.
The company allows us to use the URL optimod.fm and optimod.am. Optimod.com is the mothership, of course.
Yeah.
And so it's a very synergistic relationship.
So I've got a question. Okay, here's the question. Inside the original Orban 8000 processor, there were 2 potted modules. One potted module. I thought, okay, one potted module, and that means there's electronics in there, but it's all in epoxy, potted, and you can't see what's in there or how they're hooked up.
We know what's in it.
Do you know what's in it?
Absolutely, and Bob has taught me. Yeah, and what's inside of it is still a trade secret. What's inside that module is still the DNA of the modern 8600 processors being sold today in digital. There are some things going on in that module that are so far ahead of their time. It's truly fuzzy logic. It's an automatically adjusting algorithm.
What kind of logic did you call it?
It's fuzzy logic. And that was a sort of a trendy thing to call these things for a while. But it basically is an analog computer that is smart enough to know the characteristics of the music and adjust the characteristics of the compressor's release time according to the music. And that was revolutionary. Bob actually wrote his master's at Stanford on that as a closed paper. It's not published. And that continued along, but there's some very smart things going on in there. And even if you import it, if Bob hasn't explained to you exactly what's going on, you'll never figure it out.
So, do we have to ply you with some liquor to try to find out what you know about it?
No, you would have to kill me.
You still won't get it out of you, will we?
Still won't get it out of me.
And were there potted modules in the 8100 as well?
And we do those too. We actually build new potted modules for when they fail. We have all the documentation, and we have a license to make these, and as only as replacement parts. So we can continue to support the product. Orban's very proud of the fact that every product in the broadcast line has continued to have support, including 40-year-old 8000s that are still on the air. And that's a legacy that we want to maintain.
Now, both of you are also ham radio operators.
KM4DN.
And KB3MZX. You'll see me in the chat room sometimes with that handle.
So are you advanced?
I'm advanced. Yeah.
I'm just a lowly technician.
And I got my advanced when you had to know code to get an advanced.
Well, yeah. I skipped all the code stuff.
So I took my general test. I missed it by one question.
No way.
And I haven't had time to go back.
The test must have been wrong.
Oh, no. It was
didn't study for it either.
No.
Just walked in and took it.
I had to study for mine. I still missed a couple. It's been great talking to you. I appreciate you both so much.
It's always good
You're such a great couple.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
It's so fun to talk to. I appreciate you very, very much. Well, thank you. We'll have you back on again.
Well, thank you. We'll come back when we have the stream tracker.
Okay. Good deal. Thanks again. We're going to turn it over to Scott. Scott's over here with Randy Hall.
That's right. I'm here with Randy Hall, a well-known ham, especially if you watch YouTube. Randy, how did you get into amateur radio?
My dad was a ham back in the 50s. He was a radar tech in the Pacific on B-29s, and this became a hobby. So I grew up with the helicrafters and the Viking at home, and I would go down and throw the receive transmit switch. That was my job. So.
And you've been hooked ever since, huh?
Ever since, yep, pretty much.
Now, you were telling me a little earlier in the party that you've developed quite a following on YouTube.
I have over 2.1 million views, over 6,000 people subscribe. I have over 1,500 people on Twitter, and I've been getting messages tonight. They've been seeing me in the background, so this will probably light up again here. So,
now, what kind of content do you put up on YouTube?
The ones that are most popular is where I show people how to do something, like how to get on PSK quickly or maybe work some of the amateur satellites. So those are things that people really like to see. It's the whole build and make thing, I think. So when people see it on the video, it's easier for them to understand than reading a book. And so.
And how do you do that? Do you just like set up a little camcorder in your... There it is.
There it is. I've been shooting here. As I shoot on my camera, I use Sony Vegas to take an edit and put it all together and upload it to YouTube and promote and go.
Incredible. And so what do you do for a living? What is your job?
I work for Miranda, which is a broadcast manufacturing company. Work out at the Envision Group in Grass Valley. We build large video routing and audio routers. So I'm a product specialist on the pre-sale side. So video's everywhere for me.
Yeah, I certainly noticed the Miranda booth. It's one of the biggest ones on the show floor.
Yeah, in fact, George helped me today shoot some material because people like to know what I do. So I did a kind of a booth walkthrough explaining what I do. So that'll be posted shortly.
Now, I was a product specialist at Roland Corporation, which is a maker of synthesizers. Not this business, but I certainly understand the role of the product specialist, where you're really an educator. You're teaching people how to use the product, how to get the most out of it, how to fix problems.
Yeah, and all that, and also from a pre-sales point of view, getting the right size product for their needs and making sure it's going to do what they want. It's a lot of consultant-type stuff from the pre-sales point of view. So,
very good. So how can people find you on YouTube?
Search for K7AGE.
Oh, yeah, this is your call letters, by the way. We want to make sure we get that. K7AGE. Randy Hall, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks so much. And I'd like to thank Bob and BSW and John Turner for tonight. It's a great reception, and all the people who have donated the prizes. So, I haven't won yet, but I don't care. I'm having so much fun.
Very good. Thanks so much. Okay, I think Kirk might be talking with somebody here, and let's see if we can throw it over to Kirk here.
I'm gonna put a little drinky poo away here. There we go.
Hey, okay. Where's mine?
Well, you can have some of that if you want. I don't have any cooties. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack. We're here on the TWiT network with our TWiT Live special number 121. We're at the ham radio reception, otherwise known as the Bob Heil party. Hey, I'm standing here with a giant in the radio industry as far as design and understanding. And I became familiar with Jeff Mendenhall some years ago when I read a white paper or when you worked at BE years ago. Yeah. And it was a paper about the care and treatment of the baseband signal, the FM baseband
composite signal. Key to quality, right?
Yeah. And I read this and I thought, this makes sense to me. I was a young engineer trying to figure this stuff out. And the way you wrote this paper about how the baseband signal is critical, you need to take care of it, don't mess it up, and you're going to have a happy FM signal if you do. And I understood this thing, and I was so grateful for this paper. So thank you for writing that.
Okay, good. Glad it was helpful. Carrier for FM stereo, so a lot of renewed interest in that kind of technology.
Now, are you working with Harris?
Yeah, I'm the Vice President of Research and Technology for Harris. Been with the company for 24 years, but with a little hiatus in between at BE for a number of years. And, I'm one of these hams, so when I go home at night, I can't, I do RF all day at work, and what do I do when I get home? I do more RF, right? I can't get enough RF, right?
You're like some of my friends who are airline pilots. They go home and they fly their little plane around.
Yeah, that's right. They fly their little Citabria or whatever, do some aerobatics, yeah. Okay.
So, let's talk about the single sideband for just a minute.
Yeah.
When we talk about single sideband with ham radio, technically it's the same thing, but we think of single sideband as this odd-sounding transmission method, right? But with FM stereo, what's the benefit of using single sideband for the stereo subcarrier?
You know, FM stereo, conventional FM stereo is done with double sideband suppressed carrier. There's no tuning or lockup required because there's a pilot tone at 19 kilohertz that allows the receiver to synchronize the 38 kilohertz subcarrier, the center frequency, so it locks up and decodes correctly. And so the single sideband FM stereo is just removing the upper sideband and changing the level of the lower sideband. And apparently there are some advantages to it in terms of reduction of multipath, but it's completely compatible with the current receivers. So
we were talking to Frank Foti earlier today about
Frank's the guy that's really reintroduced the subject. It's been discussed before, but he's reintroduced it and built up some equipment, some stereo generators, along with Bob Orban, and a number of stations are testing it. So it seems to work pretty well.
Frank, help me understand that when you do away with that upper sideband, he ends up boosting the lower sideband about 6 dB.
That's right. You have to, because you have to have the same amount of energy that was occupied by the two sidebands, so you just turn up the remaining one by 6 dB to make everything work out.
The process, I take it, doesn't affect the modulation reading, or everything stays the same in the watt.
Yeah, everything else stays the same. Yeah.
Now, also today, Frank mentioned if you build a receiver, an FM receiver, that if it recognizes there is no upper sideband and it mutes itself in that portion, you can end up with a 10 dB better signal-noise ratio.
Yes, if the receiver design were changed so that it could identify whether it's a double sideband signal or a single sideband signal, if it identified a single sideband signal and reduced the bandwidth so it wasn't looking at that noise spectrum from 38 kilohertz to 53 kilohertz, then you would get some improvement in the signal-to-noise ratio. So
I think that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
I don't know if you've explained this concept to maybe some lay people. Folks have asked me, well, why does this reduce multipath to get rid of the upper sideband? Of course, we know that mono FM suffers very little from multipath. Yeah. So do you have a way you can explain why just getting rid of that 15 kilohertz of spectrum helps reduce it?
Well, the feeling is if it reduces the overall bandwidth of the RF signal, which it does because it changes the modulation index a little bit, that might improve the multipath situation. So there's still a lot of testing that needs to be done, but perhaps it is a good thing from that standpoint. So
your call sign, W8GNM.
And nice lettering there. I forgot my name tag. So anyway, let's talk about something else here. That the fused MOS transistors that maybe some people have seen on YouTube, but NXP Semiconductor and Freescale Semiconductor have. They're in a Gemini package, ceramic package, but they're capable of over a kilowatt per transistor, 50 volt LD MOS. And so we've taken those devices and built a solid state FM broadcast, a new line of FM solid state transmitters. And so we can get 40 kilowatts of FM power in two 19-inch racks.
Oh my goodness!
So it's half the size of previous generation, vertical MOS devices. So these things are really cool.
This transmitter line is called what?
It's called Flexiva, or FAX. So we've introduced the 40 kilowatt at the NAB show here, and it's generated a lot of interest. It's a really neat
technology last year in a smaller size, right?
10 kilowatts.
I believe I talked to Rich Redmond about this last year.
Yeah, exactly. So now we've taken it from 10 kilowatts to 40 kilowatts.
That is 40 kilowatts in two, 6-foot racks?
Yeah, they're about 78 inches tall by 19 inches wide. There's actually 4 10-kilowatt power blocks for redundancy, and then they're combined with 3 dB hybrid combiners.
Okay.
So.
And then, of course, the exciter output is split to these 4, right?
Yes. Yep. So it doesn't take very much drive. These LDMOS devices have about 21 dB of gain, so that's another advantage. It takes much less drive power to get the full power output as compared to the VMOS of previous generation devices.
What does the LD stand for? LD
Lateral diffused. Yeah, metal oxide semiconductor. Yeah, LD MOS. So,
are there other industries where this transistor, this technology is used?
We've used it, of course, in television broadcasting and UHF television, some smaller devices, about half the size, for a number of years. But they're very quickly being adopted in the MRI business and also in the metallization, sputtering for flat screen TVs, those types of RF heating applications, and of course HF applications. I think you're going to see some ham gear with these devices in it soon. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's next generation stuff from. I have a solid state amplifier that's a few years old that uses the vertical MOS devices, and I'm sure we're going to see the number of devices drop in half with these new parts. So
that's exciting technology. Yeah. When did Harris get turned on to these type of devices?
We've been using them for about 5 years in the VHF and UHF television transmitter realm, but the new jumbo, what I call a jumbo device, the kilowatt devices, we just started working with them about a year and a half ago and introduced a product last year, and now we're really starting to ship a lot of higher power transmitters.
When you mention these in television transmitters, are you speaking of transmitters that do digital television?
Yes. Yeah, virtually all the transmit. I mean, you can use them for analog television, but virtually everything that we sell these days is for one of the digital TV standards. We actually do about 10 or 11 different waveforms with a software-defined exciter for television. So there's the ATSC standard for North America, and then there's several DVB and DVB-T2 standards for Europe. There's ISDBT for Brazil, and so on. So there's a lot of different worldwide standards for digital.
Other than the software-defined exciter, does the amplifier care what it's amplifying?
No, we change the bias on the amplifier depending upon the peak to average ratio. But other than that, it really is. It's a linear amplifier. Yeah. And we're doing some other interesting things on efficiency enhancements for linear amplifiers. So,
Jeff, I can't wait to have you on our show for a whole hour. We can talk about this.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for your.
We'll say hi to everybody out there on Ham Radio Nation. I guess it's
Ham Nation is
Ham Nation, right?
Every week with Bob Heil. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Where's Bob? He's hanging out here. There he is up there. Okay. All right. So we're having a great time here in Las Vegas.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you. That's Jeff Mendenhall. We're going to turn it back over to Scott Wilkinson. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, everybody. I found a friend of mine, Pete Putman, who I've known for many years as a journalist in the home theater arena. But so what are you doing here?
Well, actually, three things. I am a technology consultant for Kramer Electronics. We set up a bunch of switching systems to handle everything from iPhones and iPads to laptops in the HPA Hollywood Post Alliance Post-Bit. Also here covering the show as a journalist. And yesterday morning, I presented a paper on managing consumer display interfaces in a professional world. DisplayPort, HDMI, things like that.
Thus your three different badges.
Yes, apparently I forgot the fourth one for the exposition. Three's enough.
Now, you're also a ham, right?
That's correct. I have the call sign KT2B. I've had it for 32 years.
And how'd you get started?
Well, I actually, in high school, I had pirate AM and FM radio stations on the air for a few years and managed to dodge the FCC and decided in my high school senior year that probably ought to go legit. So I got the technician license then, and a few years later upgraded to extra class, and have had it ever since.
And you told me that 1 year you actually won a ham here.
That's correct. 1 year, the first prize drawn here was an actual ham. It was a honey-baked ham, the four-legged kind. And yes, that was my first prize.
Now, you were telling me a story offline about taking antennas around and doing some things. I repeat the story, if you would.
Well, actually, you're talking about testing indoor antennas? Yeah. Just recently, I had accumulated a pile of indoor digital TV antennas. And I called my good friend John Turner Engineering, because he enjoys killing a day as much as I do. Went up to his office, and we just taped every one into the window and ran some tests on it. We don't test antennas the way most people do. We test to see if we get a signal, but we also put an MPEG stream analyzer on it to see if we actually get a quality signal, and then recorded the signal.
And in fact, the MPEG stream analyzer lets you see what kind of a signal you're getting, how how strong it is, how robust it is, and so on.
Exactly. You can see the MPEG video and audio streams and what the error rate is. Lower the error rate, better quality signal. So we basically kicked his wife out of the office. She's the office manager and really runs the place. And went up there and just proceeded to tape all these things to the window and test them one after the other.
Well, where is this located?
This is in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey.
And so how many ATSC DTV stations are available in that area?
Well, potentially everything from New York, but we had a certain number that would consistently show up. At least 3 and as many as 7 or 8 stations would consistently show up on all of our tests. The most interesting thing was, tested a panel antenna from a manufacturer who I will keep anonymous that sells for $40. It didn't do any better than a Radio Shack bow tie. It sells for $4. So I got a phone call from them saying there must be something wrong with the antenna, and I said, yes, it doesn't work.
Well, you're telling it like it is.
Well, that's what people appreciate. And we did find some gems out there that really do very well. Most of these antennas resemble the mats that you would have on your table in a diner. They're laminated, so you can actually spill coffee on your antenna while you're watching TV.
Now, you have a website where you talk about a lot of the things you do. What is that?
Correct. The website is hdtvexpert.com. The review of all the antennas is on there. There's also reviews of things like 3D projectors and LED projectors and all kinds of goodies. The section is called Useful Gadgets.
And have you been walking around the show?
Yes, my legs are numb. I haven't been able to feel anything for at least a day and a half.
And what has been the most exciting thing you've seen?
There's a few things. I really like the 200-inch auto stereo display that NICT showed. The Panasonic is showing a 20,000 lumen high-resolution projector that weighs only 110 pounds. That was impressive. The wireless HD SDI demonstration in the South Hall that was done by Amazon, they donated a prize for tonight. The red projector, of course, the Blackmagic camera, and just a few odds and ends here and there. The show hasn't really been, I wouldn't say there's been a lot of really eye-popping things here. A comment was made to me the other day that it felt like NAB 2011, except most of the stuff works this time.
Well, it's good that it progressed from not working to working.
Well, what you have is you'll go into a section MPEG 4, and we think this product can't be beat. Then you go to the next booth and you'll hear it again. The next booth you'll hear it again. Then you've heard it from 15 different people. So there's nothing really new there. But again, there are the gems. The thing about a show like this is you really need to dig deep and go into some of the back aisles. In the very, very back of the South Hall, Epson was showing its Moveria glasses. You're familiar with those. They're basically like 3D glasses you put on that project images over what you can see. So they're transparent, but they also give you a live video feed at the same time. They're called, I guess, augmented reality glasses.
This is not unlike the Google glasses that were announced some time ago.
A little bit different. The Google glasses will actually, depending on where you are with your location, bring up maps, activate your phone, display text messages. All this does is show video. But it can be any kind of video or graphics that you like.
Cool. Very good. Well, thanks so much for stopping by.
Pleasure.
All right. This is Scott Wilkinson. We are at the NAB Ham party here at the LVH. And this is TWiT special number 121. And here's Kirk and Bob coming back.
Before we get out of here.
Oh, is it almost time to go already?
Oh, we only got about 15 left.
Holy smokes.
Isn't it fast? Here's the deal. I want to ask you guys, what did you see that was really earth-shattering? And I talk about technology now. Okay, I know they got this thing. It's got a new painted whatever whiz-bang. But I'm talking about earth-shattering. Did you see any new technology?
I'm actually the wrong guy to ask because I had such a limited, horse blinders view of the show, so focused on doing some production. Yeah. But I'll tell you what I did see today that I really enjoyed. Actually, two things. And they're both geeky things for radio. One was ERI, Electronics Research. They make antennas. They have this combiner that combines an analog FM transmitter and an HD FM transmitter, and it's actually efficient. And prior to this, the technology was kind of terrible to do this. So if you're an HD broadcaster, HD FM, it's really helpful. The other thing was at the Nautel transmitter booth, these guys have got a kind of a light version of their 10 kilowatt transmitter. And it's got the advanced user interface, the AUI, so it shows the spectrum of the transmitter. It shows the L-R and the L+R and the Lissajou pattern. And I wish I had this transmitter when I was a day-to-day engineer.
That'd be great.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
So these two things I think are just fabulous. And I'm really proud of the company I work for. Today, we won, Telos Omniaxia won 2 Pick Hit Awards. Not just 1, but 2.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's
right.
Very cool.
Well, that's great. The thing that I saw was in the parking lot.
What?
Viasat is a new satellite, and this is a deal that's been going on for some time. They have their own satellite, and communications via satellite hasn't been good because of the delay and all that.
Sure, there's that, yeah.
There isn't any. What? They had a live feed in the parking lot of HD, and there's no delay. What? And I happen to have one of those in my second home. We just have a new second home in Springfield, Missouri. Have no internet, no cell phone.
No phone, no light, no motor car?
Right, until we got the new Viasat, and they're here. And they had a little E&G package. You don't need any more uplink trucks, none of that stuff. It's a little suitcase, little bitty dish. Now, this has been tried before,
check this out.
but it was delay, and it didn't work. This thing is amazing. It's called Viasat.
Okay.
Wild Blue. They bought that cable company some years ago, but this has only been out just a few weeks, and they were in the parking lot with this little truck. Did you get this?
I'm so thrilled when I get the time to go and look at the outdoor exhibits, the trucks and the satellite dishes and all this kind of stuff. I rarely get to see this stuff, and I love it. I got to tell you, there's one brand that I think is genius. There's a satellite dish that goes on top of a truck, and it pops up like this. And when it's down, it's aerodynamic. It's so cool. Pops up, and it's made in Sweden. Do you know the brand name? Swedish.
All right.
Of course.
Oh, anything you saw that was earth-shattering?
I saw something today that blew my mind. And this was a demonstration at the Christie booth, right? They make digital cinema projectors.
Yep.
Very high end. It was a demonstration of what's called high frame rate 3D.
Whoa.
Okay, so which was historically chosen because it minimized the amount of film that the studios had to pay for. In fact, James Cameron, in his little recorded intro, said that the studio heads were dragged kicking and screaming to 24 frames because they wanted 16.
Yeah.
But can you imagine what 16 would look like? Terrible. But even at 24, you have a lot of problems. When you have pans across detail or you have people moving in the scene, it looks very jittery, very juddery, and very blurry. And James Cameron, as we know, and Peter Jackson also have been advocating for higher frame rates. Peter Jackson is shooting The Hobbit at 48 frames per second.
Yeah.
And James Cameron is going to be shooting Avatar 2 at 48.
Wow.
So
Cool.
this demo, James Cameron put it together, a series of specific scenes that were shot at 24 and played at 24, shot at 48 and played at 48, and shot at 60 and played at 60. One right after the other, so you could compare them.
Right.
The difference was stunning.
Wow.
Stunning.
That's great.
And, up until that moment, a higher spatial resolution, which it is. There's just a ton of it all over the place. Right. But what I saw today at the Christie booth in that demonstration convinced me that 4K is not nearly as important as shooting at a higher frame rate, because you get the resolution back that you lost when you're shooting at 24 frames per second.
Here's my question. I have never been a fan of the upsampled TV sets. The 120 hertz, that kind of stuff.
Right.
It at first you think it's good, and then you realize no, it's unnatural movements sometimes.
Yes, it's the soap opera effect from what's called frame interpolation.
Right, that's it. So how did you think of the 48 and the 60 compared to this upsample?
Well, it's an excellent question. It's an excellent question. And it does look a bit more video-like. and less film-like.
But it didn't look like the soap opera effect,
I didn't think it looked like a soap opera.
Right.
It did look more like video, and and some people will complain about that. Some people want the look of 24
We've
frames per second.
grown up with that, and our brains are kind of attuned to that.
Exactly. But I will admit that I'm in the minority that I actually like frame interpolation, or rather, I should say I don't object to it nearly as much as other people.
You know, I like it when it's let's say you got a camera rolling down a hallway, and it's very linear. I like that. But when it's a person making head movements that become
it looks
unnatural,
a little strange.
Like, how do you move your head that way?
Yeah.
Really? That's where.
And not only was this at higher frame rates, but it was also in 3D. We were also looking at 3D, Real D, passive glasses, and the problems of 24 frames are magnified at with 3D because the edges of the 3D objects that are moving get all torn up. It's very bad. So at 48, that goes away, and at 60, it's stunning, absolutely stunning. Then they did a few slow-mo clips where they actually shot at up to 120 frames per second, and then brought it back down to 48 or 60 or whatever. But the point that James Cameron was making in his whole spiel there was the entire infrastructure, the whole movie industry has gone beyond 24 frames per second. Even the digital cameras can now do, the Alexa from Arri can do 120. The Red can do 300 frames per second.
Well, we see all of this technology at these shows, and it's too bad that everybody that's watching us and listening to us can't be here to take it in. So they're going to have to come and see some of this stuff. But I appreciate that.
Well, that's why I think it's so important that TWiT brings the show to a wider audience.
Exactly.
Now, you can't see us at 60 frames per second. But we can tell you about it, and I talked to the Christie people, and I said, you must show this to as many people as possible, because only through experience can you really see the improvement.
Well, I wanted to get your take on some of the stuff, and we're really excited about what went on here this week.
Oh, it's been a tremendous show.
We want to bring George and Julian in, my compatriots on the Ham Nation every week. We're having so much fun. Did you see anything earth-shattering at the show?
Yeah, I saw some 3D that did not require glasses. That was 360. You could walk around.
Where was that?
The back of the North Hall. I don't remember the company.
I think my friend Pete was mentioning that. And hopefully I'll get a chance to go run by there tomorrow.
There you go.
I'm going to be on the TWiT stage most of the day, but I did hear that was pretty remarkable.
What about you, Julian?
Well, I'm the real fan of the 170 kilowatt dummy load for ham radio. I have my handheld radio, and I tried to plug it in, and I think it works fine. So they're going to ship it to me in the morning. I think it'll be good.
There you go. Well, we've really had a great time bringing all this to our viewers, and appreciate all the TWiT family and. Look at all the staff that's here that you can't see on the other side of the camera that put this all together. This is great.
Brent's been a great cameraman for 2 solid hours. Lynn and Liz have been running interference for us.
I want to give a little shout out to Brent, the camera guy. He has been holding this backpack and holding the camera most of the time. And then I looked and figured out why. The dude's got muscles coming out everywhere.
You know the good thing, Kirk? He said he's giving it to me after the show. So,
and we have to mention again that the backpack is the live view system that is allowing us to stream all of this wirelessly from this party out to the wide world. And we thank them for their support of the TWiT network.
Yeah, that's really super. Really super. And we appreciate everybody that puts our Ham Nation on every week, because this is the staff that does it.
This is the staff that does it.
And
it's the changing face of broadcasting, really.
Absolutely.
We are sitting here at a transitionary moment, at a tipping point, as we move from traditional broadcasting to online streaming and internet broadcasting, which opens up so many possibilities that we never knew before.
Yeah. Well, we're there every Tuesday night. You can tune in at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Pacific, and 9 o'clock Eastern. Come in and watch us fumble around for the first 15 minutes and figure out what we're going to do.
Yes.
And then crazy me, I write the Google Doc to them, and then I don't follow it. And But we do have fun, don't we?
We have a blast every week.
I'm sure you, like Gordo and I, we get hundreds of emails from guys every week. It's amazing.
Constantly. So many people that have been inactive for years getting back in the hobby, and so many new hams. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Amateur radio is now up over 750,000. So it's been really, really great.
It's amazing. Actually, here at the show, we've been talking about all this new technology and streaming and so on, and yet here we are talking of what we're talking about is a hobby of almost 100 years.
Right. Hey, I'm being called to close the
festivities. Okay,
festivities.
Bob.
I'll be back.
See you. Live television right there.
See you all. 7-3.
7-3. Very good. Excellent.
You think they just say best wishes, but no, they say 7-3.
No, they say 7-3. Yeah. 7-3 is best wishes. Okay, so I think we're about out of time. Should we wait for the... Oh, look. Live television. We had a winner almost cross our path here. Maybe we should watch Bob say goodbye to everybody, huh?
Is Bob pulling my ticket from the barrel right there?
I think he might be. Yes, exactly right.
I have to run over there, too. If he pulls my ticket out, I'll be screaming like crazy over there.
Very good.
Are we ready to wrap it up?
I think. Are we, Liz, we're wrapping it up. Very good. Then from the Heil the BSW,
the Bob Heil Party.
The Bob Heil Party, the ham radio reception at NAB 2012. I'm Scott Wilkinson.
And I'm Kirk Harnack.
And we are on TWiT.tv. Farewell.